Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to Madam Nurul Ain Muhammad Rifai as our beloved lecturer, my fellow friends and my teammates as the presenters today. We are from Group 5 and I am Muhammad Khalis Daniel bin Nur Azim. We would like to present to you about violence in sport. So what is violence? Violence is basically a physical force exerted for the purpose of injuring another, which means it is an action that have an intention to give harm towards another people, while violence in sport refers to behavior that causes harm and it occurs outside the rules of the sport. As an example, there are some players that intentionally break the rules to give harm or injuries towards their opponent. Next, we are going to go through the types and purposes of rules. Basically, there are three types and purposes of rules, which are constitutive rule, prescriptive rules, and sportsmanship rules. So what is constitutive rules? Constitutive rules is rules that guide play within a specific game. As examples, there are minimum and maximum numbers of players that are allowed on each team in some particular games, and there are sports that have their limitations for the ages and weight as in a category in some particular sport. Prescriptive rules refers to expressly forbid specific actions resulting in pain, serious injury, and even death. As examples, iron studs or sharp studs are forbidden in football because this action might contribute to a serious injury towards the opponent or even teammates. For another example, as in a game of baseball or softball, pitchers are forbidden to throw the balls towards the batter. If it is happening, the batter would get the free walk. Sportsmanship rules refers to the inherent quality in playing a game in which one is honor bound to follow the spirit and the letter of the rules. As examples, soccer official can give a yellow card as a warning and a red card for ejection for unsportsmanlike action. Next, we are going to go through on ethical conduct or not. There are few question marks that should be highlighted in this subtopic. Violence occurs when some athletes choose to disregard the rules. So there is one question that should be asked. If they claim they are the professional athletes, where is the integrity of being professional athletes? Marginally within the spirit of the rules, action that may not break the rules but is certainly marginally within the spirits of the rules. Example, affecting opponents either on physical contact or psychological intimidation. As example, we can see racism is the most problematic matter in English Premier League, which white footballers always intimidate the black footballers for being in the league. Everyone else does it is the most common excuses for players to engage in violent behavior. They believe that violent behavior is justified when the opponent engage in the violent behavior. Yet, is violence in sport is a deviant behavior? What is deviant? Many people seem ignorant for the purpose of the sport when they say that behaviors they condone, even applaud, is not a violent behavior. Instead, they use it to gain an advantage through craftiness or clever coaching or playing. Creating an action or situation to gain advantages is a violence in sport. For example, volleyball players often tell officials that they did not touch the balls that go out of bounds, even when they did. And as example, for football, players intend to do the fake diving or the fake jumps to tell the officials that the opponents commit the foul. Does honesty have in sport? That is one more question marks that should be highlighted. Provocations to opponents is a rule-violating behavior. Many athletes state they choose to initiate the rule-violating behavior hoping that they will not get caught, but that their opponents retaliate and get penalized. That's all for my part. Now I'm going to pass you to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hazid Nazmi bin Muhammad Azmi, and now it's my turn to present about is the winning the only thing and the categorical imperatives. The first one, winning is a cultural imperative and can directly influence uses of violence in sport. This is because winning can increase the importance. Like example, the athlete can become very aggressive and even act violently to win a match because of the paycheck for the winner is very high. Next, due to excessive pressure to win, violence among the athletes, coaches, and even the fans has increased in school sports. Sadly, a few of the fans or the parents have assaulted the coaches and even the officials for only to get a win. Okay, next, in our world of the sport nowadays, many professionals claim that they are expected to demonstrate violent behaviors by not caring at all about their opponents. This is one of the bad examples that can be shown as a senior in a team. Yes, if you are a professional or a senior, you need to lead by an example and must prohibit the young players to act violently. Hence, they need to show the true sportsmanship in a sport. The fourth point is some athletes see their opponents as objects rather than people. This kind of behavior led to acts of violence. Some people are taught to take out the opposing player with hard hits, and some players even hold grudges to their opponent. This bad behavior need to stop for only the sake of winning. The fifth point is a discard for the rules often leads to objectification of the opponent as an enemy. So, the athletes needs to study more and look to the rules of the game. Lastly, there is a clear relationship between a desire to win and a sense that more aggressive and unsportsmanlike behavior is allowed. There are a lot of good ways to win a match as clean as a whistle.
Oh, and some nasty stuff in there. There needs to be a bite almost. Holyfield is very unhappy. Look at this. It looked as if Tyson bared his teeth at one stage in the exchange.
Yes,
bit
I
his
think
ear.
he bit his ear. That's what Holyfield was in a lot of pain from that. You see the blood on the ear. That was definitely a bite.
Well, feelings are running very, very hot indeed in there. Holyfield was outraged by that. Now, what is the referee going to do about that? 1 point deduction for Tyson. It's here. Now, let's take a look again.
Yes, it's just here. He gets into the position there. Watch. You see, he stays there. There, he bites him there. You see him lift his teeth. And Holyfield in agony at that point, trying to rip free. And an awful lot of pain.
Well, this is getting like a street fight.
So in the clip show a very famous world heavyweight champion goes by the name Mike Tyson. On June 28, 1997, the rematch for WBA World Heavyweight title are on the line between Mike Tyson himself and Evander Holyfield, the current heavyweight champion at that time. Why this is a rematch? Is because Holyfield grabbed the title from Tyson back from November 9th, 1996. On that day, Holyfield shocked the boxing world by beating Tyson and win the WBA title. Then, Tyson set the rematch on the June 28th, 1997. On the rematch, Holyfield dominated the first 3 rounds against Tyson. Then, the match was stopped. The match stopped because Tyson acted aggressively and bites Holyfield's ear in the 3rd round. Tyson shows this violence because he lost his composure from Holyfield's attack and start act violently. It clearly shows that Tyson did not care about Holyfield's condition at all. Tyson only shows that grudges that he holds on losing on the first match in back 1996. This act of behavior led Tyson to disqualification and suspension from boxing. Now we are going to move on with the next subtopic, which is categorical imperative. Categorical imperative is a acceptance of everything regardless of the situation. So the first point is, a true athletes play to their best of their abilities with full sportsmanship spirit and play by the rules, even if they at urge of losing, and they will keep trying as hard as they can. The second one is, winning is very important in sports, but only if the letter and spirit of the rules are allowed. Next, a worthy athlete deserves to be treated exactly as everyone would wish to be treated, even towards an opponent. Every athlete will try to win but keep a clean fight and shows the spirit of winning in a positive way is a true meaning of sports. Next, punishment is never acceptable regardless of the situation. Even it's unfair for the opponent shows violence as their initial action, a true athlete will show their best capabilities than rather act violence back toward the opponent. The fifth point, games are not played through intimidation. The ideal purpose of sport is mutual quest and fair competition. Lastly, sportsmanship requires modesty and humility in victory. If we say so, when we won a game or a match, show the respect for the opponent's defeat, and that's when true sportsmanship act is about. Okay, in this case study, Neymar showed his class after Paris Saint-Germain progressed to the 2020-2021 season UEFA Champions League semi-final after defeating Bayern Munchen. Neymar showed his best capabilities and proved to be the best player on that night. Neymar also proved his sportsmanship as he consoled David Alaba, Bayern defender, on the pitch after the defending champions were dumped out on the away goals. Okay, these two pictures shows the true sportsmanship between athletes. It's between the same player but only the roles were reversed. Neymar in the dark blue jersey and Alaba were in the red jersey. Both of these footballers shows no other than respect on each other. The pictures on the left shows that Alaba comforted Neymar after losing them in the UEFA Champions League final last season. And the pictures on the right shows that Neymar give back to Alaba and comfort Alaba after winning against them on this season UEFA Champions League quarterfinal. Okay, and so that's all for me. The next presenter will talk about the next subtopic. Thank you.
Okay, now we have 5 points that we need to discuss. The first point is why violence exists. The second one is why violent behavior is taught. The third one is why and how violence is rewarded. Then why violence is condoned, and the last one is the impact of violence in sport. For the first point is why violence exists. There are 3 theories that support this point. The first one is one suggests that athletes sometimes too obsessed on winning and allow themselves to have aggressive behavior. The other one suggests that violence occurs among athletes because it is model. Young athletes probably done it because they see their idols do it on television. The last one is another one suggests that violence occurs because of the rules or the rules and forces permitted it. Now, let's watch one of the case study regarding violence in sport, which is post-match brawl between Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Next one, why violent behavior is taught. This one got 4 different points, which is the first one is coach. The coaches teach their athletes to act in violent ways in order to gain a competitive edge over opponent. The next one is from the media. Violent behavior often are learned from and modeled after those seen on the electronics media and praised in videotapes replay, such as in our country that is Astro Arena, Bulletin TV3 and TV1. Next is the competition. The higher the level of competition, the more intense is the pressure exerted by the coaches for athletes to perform in violent ways. Last one is parents. Nowadays parents let their kids watch anything they want without supervising them. So, by all the videos that media spread, these young athletes will easily access to it. Young athletes tend to follow this behavior because they feel great by watching them. Now, let's watch another case study of violent behavior occurs in Malaysia involving Kedah Darul Aman FC and Johor Darul Takzim FC.
Kita tinggalkan sekejap review tentang aksi perlawanan. Ni ramai yang nak tahu ni tentang insiden terowong Darul Aman. Macam mana ia boleh start ni, Zul?
Okey, berdasarkan perhatian saya dalam perlawanan malam tadi, saya mendapati ia bermula daripada beberapa insiden kekasaran, tetapi kemuncaknya apabila insiden bola 50-50 antara Gonzalo Cabrera dan juga Rizal Ghazali. Yang ketika itu kita dapat lihat Rizal Ghazali seperti tersepak Cabrera dan itu mengundang rasa tidak puas hati para pegawai pasukan JDT, dan kemudiannya ia terbawa-bawa antara Cabrera dan juga coach Aidil Sharin. Berlaku sedikit pertengkaran dan kemudiannya apabila perlawanan separuh masa pertama tamat, kita dapat lihat bahawa Aidil Sharin seolah macam diserang oleh pegawai JDT dengan pergaduhan mulut di luar padang itu. Tetapi pada masa yang sama berlaku pergaduhan kecil, saya boleh katakan, di dalam bilik terowong. Saya difahamkan membabitkan pemain import pasukan JDT dan juga para pemain pasukan Kedah. Dan kalau kita tahu, ingat balik, ini insiden kedua terowong selepas insiden terowong Larkin pada 2014, yang ketika itu saya difahamkan ada pihak yang dikenakan tindakan oleh Persatuan Bola Sepak Malaysia FM. Saya tidak pasti sejauh mana laporan daripada Match Commissioner berhubung perkara itu, tetapi yang pastinya berlaku pergaduhan kecil berdasarkan video amatur yang sempat, bukan saya rakamkan, yang sempat seseorang individu rakamkan dan memberi kepada saya.
Okay, now is why and how violence is rewarded. We have 4 points that need to be discussed. The first one is these athletes are taught by the coaches that winning is important. So the coaches will ask the athlete to do anything, includes violence, as long as they will win. The second one is many coaches and athletes believe that violence is not wrong. They believe that it is just an act of self-defense that will make their opponents scared of them. The third one is for the highlight of the film or show, with them being the star of the show because of their violent behavior. Many big companies will find them for the endorsement deals because they believe with his reputation, they can make a lot of money. Then the athletes will get a big salary. The last one is sport rules has been liberalized over the years. Next, I'm going to show you an example of what violence behavior can get you make a lot of money. Next one is why violence is condoned. The first point is winning is everything, which means the pressure exerted from the coaches and management that they have to win no matter what, make them not thinking straight and did all the nasty and violent behavior as long as they will win, because they know they will be praised if they win. Next is popularity. By doing violent behavior, it will attract fans just to watch you because they enjoyed what you did. Then the media also will focus on your issue because they think they will make the good story out of it. Now, for the last one is the impact of violence in sport. The first one is, remember that sport is always about fair play and respect. In addition to the importance of violence in sports, it should be noted how violent behavior on field or court have moved into society. The next one, the athletes that are engaging in violent behaviors less frequently statistically, but only that the media chooses to publicize their misbehavior because of their perceived celebrity status. The last one is, it appears that the notoriety of some athletes may help get them easier treatment from the judicial system. Now, we move on to the recommendation. For the recommendation, it divided into 4 parts. For the first one is league officials. League officials enforce sport laws and ethical values, and for the one who disobey the laws will get the penalty for their misbehavior on and off the field. The second one is parents. Parents and fans who engage in violent behavior will be banned permanently from the bench or the stadium. They also need to be taught with spectators' ethical values. The third one is college. College need to enforce ethical code of conduct and to teach them sportsmanship rules to respect each and every one of them. They also need to be taught that winning isn't everything. And for the last one is for the coaches. Coaches need to teach the rules of play to their players and focus on soft skill development so that their athletes will avoid to do any bad behaviors. Alright, so I think that's enough from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you for listening.
Definition of elimination is an individual or a team that has been withdrawn from a competition. We can see, as example, we can see this thing happen, which the team that is not qualified to round of 16 has been withdrawn from the tournament. So next is sport dropout. What is sport dropout? Sport dropout is a voluntary or involuntary separation of an athlete from a sport with a reason. And next one is sport burnout. Sport burnout is actually it may occur for physical, psychological, and social. Okay, next we will go a little bit deeper about what is sport dropout. So the definition is, as I mentioned before, voluntary or involuntary separation from a sport for a reason. So actually sport dropout happens within because of two things. First one is positive and second one is problematic. Okay, now I would like to briefly explain about what is positive dropout, what is problematic dropout. But we're gonna go with one by one, which we're gonna go with the first one is positive dropout. So for what is positive dropout actually? Positive dropout actually happened because he decided to drop out from the sport with a good reason. So as example that I take was Nico Rosberg. He's an F1 driver. So Nico actually decided to retire after he won his first ever world champion title, and after he beat 3 times world champion on that time, which is Lewis Hamilton. So why actually he wants to retire immediately after he won his first ever world champion title? So basically he retired because he stated that he's already on his peak, and also being a world champion is one of his goals, and he's dreaming of it for a long time. So when he achieved it, there's nothing more he want to achieve. So basically that is why he retired immediately. And other things is he want to give a chance to new driver, to younger drivers to become a world champion one time. So next is problematic dropout. So for problematic dropout, I would like to take Mario Balotelli as my example. Why Mario Balotelli? So here's why. Because Mario Balotelli is one of the deadliest striker. Used to be a deadliest strikers few years ago. So he scored so many goals. He's even played on a big team, and also I remember that he scored during World Cup against Germany, a very beautiful goal. So that is his peak. So actually we are hoping that Balotelli is still relevant to play during this time, but right now we don't even hear his name anymore. I mean, like on the big clubs, no Balotelli. So why actually happened? So this happened because he's actually having a problem with himself. Why I said that? Because he is a very hot-tempered player. He's also can't control himself if he's in anger. So basically he have a lower discipline for being a professional football player. So that is why leads him to being a dropout. So for sport dropout level, first is children or adolescent, second is school students, and third is high school athletes or intercollegiate, and the last one is professional athletes. So I'm going to briefly explain why, the reasons. I'm going to briefly explain why the reason why this particular level are actually being a sport dropout. So first is children. Why? Because the game itself stopped being fun and fails to provide social interactions with friends. And next is school students. Why? Because being a school student is actually on more like you want to know everything. So basically the student itself will find other interests. So next, some of them want to emphasize on their academics, and also lost intrinsic motivation. So next is high school athletes or intercollegiate. So why the dropout happened? First, lack of playing time. They have a personal problem with their coach, and also have a conflict between their teammates or friends. So actually that is the reason why they want to pull away from their sport. And last one is professional athlete. So basically, professional athlete dropout problem, we used to hear it. So here's the reason why. First one is contract disputes. Next, lack of skills. And last one is recurrent injury. The injury keep on coming after he recovered from this one injury, and the next injury is coming. So that is why actually they are drop out. Lastly, other issue that leads to dropout. So first one is homosexual relations among athletes. So for homosexual relation among athletes, I'm gonna go with Tom Daley, Great Britain diver. He's actually a family name. We've been heard his name on Olympic because he's handsome. So yeah, basically Tom Daley is homosexual, and he also have been declared that he is homo on a video at YouTube. So basically after his declaration that he's being homo, his name actually quite we cannot hear his name anymore on this diving spot. So maybe that is why after he declared he's homo, he's one of the athlete dropout. So next one is sexual harassment. So sexual harassment, it's actually happened in our country, Malaysia. It's happened also to our athletes, our swimming athletes or diving athletes. I'm sorry. So he has been sexual harassed by his own coach. So actually, this is why they decided to drop out from their sport, because of these things. These quite big things happen to the athletes. And that's all from me. Thank you, and I will pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Ali Amira binti Mat Zaini. So now I will present about sport burnout. What is sport burnout? Burnout means physical or emotionally exhaustion caused by long-term stress. For example, the athlete experiences overwhelming exhaustion from the training and competition, and the athlete resigns and completely lose interest from the sport that they involve. The first point is a negative response to chronic stress, in which a person often exhausted emotionally and physically because of demand placed on him or her. The next point is sports psychologists define that burnout as physical or emotional exhaustion, sport devaluation, and reduced athlete accomplishment. And the last one is experts. Experts consider burnout as include overreaching and overtraining syndrome. There are 8 factors athlete burnout in sport. The first one is overload factors. Overload factors is the sport that the athlete involved become more challenging over the course of training program. Second, personality factors. Personality factors relate with internal, which is motivation and goals. Next is overstress. Overstress is overtraining and the body's ability to recover from strains was exceeds. Okay, next, pressure from parents. For example, the parents does not support them to play in sport that they involve. And then the other things is the parents put high expectation to their kids. Next, trait anxiety. Trait anxiety is a negative emotion such as fears, worries, and also anxiety, especially during competition. Next is overtraining. Overtraining is same goes to overstress. The athlete was overtraining, and the body's ability to recover from stress was acid. Next is negative coaching behavior. Negative coaching behavior is the coaches does not support the athlete and give a lot of pressure to them in order to win in competition or in training. And the last one is obsessive passion. Obsessive passion is internal pressure to the athlete that they want to win in competition. Why burnout occur? The first one is too much training. Second, too often training, and the last one is too soon after good things. All of these factors will develop burnout. Okay, now how to prevent from burnout? The prevention not just for the athlete but also for the parents, coaches, and sport managers. The first one is having fun. Second, take a mental break. Third, reduce pressure to win. Fourth, reduce pressure on the athlete. Fifth, always motivate and support the athlete. And the last one is avoid the over specialization to the athlete.
I'm here to announce my retirement from sports. Baseball, basketball, all of them. I feel like it's time. The pressure that it takes to play at my age is just too much. So I'm done with the endless advice from parents to keep my head up, to keep my head down, to keep my head in the game. I know you think you helped. I'm walking away from the coaches that left me on the bench every time the game was on the line. I'll miss my friends and the fun we had when we were young. I said I'd play this game as long as I was having fun. And now, it's time to call it quits.
From the video that was played just now, we can see that the kids does not have any interest to involve in his sport. This is because of the pressure from the parents and also from the coaches. The other things is the kids doesn't have fun to join or to involve in that sport again. There are three types of sport burnout. The first one is physiology and physical. Second, psychological and cognitive. And the last one is social. Physiology and physical. For youth sport, they will overtraining in the specific skill, and they will overuse the body capability. Next, intercollegiate sport, the athlete does not have enough rest and recovery. Next, for the individual, they have a high expectation to win. Also, for the coaches, also put a high expectation. And the last one is they cannot give a full commitment because of they have to attend classes and also to finish their assignment. And the last one is professional sport. In professional sport, even you have a serious injury, you was expected to play because they pay you in a high salary. And also happen in professional sport, they involve in drug use. Okay, for psychological and cognitive, youth sport struggle to improve the performance, and also the coach's expectation expectation is higher, and next is intercollegiate sport. Usually the athlete will face mental pressure because they can't balance their studies and playing sport. Next, they also cognitive thinking to perform at their high peak performance and ability. The last one is professional sport. They have psychological pressure and also pressure in ability to play in the team. And the last one is coach trust and demand. Okay, for social youth sport, from hobby turn to passion, and they also involved in sport social. For intercollegiate sport, the college athlete have time to get in social and training because of schedule can be managed. For the professional sport, they was being paid and also live involved in training, practice, and competitive schedule, and they does not have time for their own personal things.
I think it's tough to fight that battle of burning out and doing too much of one and not enough of another in sports, so you continue to realize that I'm still having fun and I want to have fun. There were case in points where we had a lot of practice, then we went to a game, then a tournament, and this, and I saw a lot of friends experience it. I think the big thing you have to realize as a kid and also as a parent, you only get one chance to do that age group in your lifetime, and you want to look back on it like I do now and say, wow, these were the fun times I had, being out there with friends, being out there with family, just going out there and enjoying the sport that I was playing in. But there was a lot of times I saw friends and family miss things like sleepovers and graduation parties and birthday parties and pool parties, all these different things that I'm sure looking back on, they might have regret. At the same time, you could pick and choose, okay? I may not be able to go to all 5 birthday parties, but as long as I get a chance to go to a couple of them and I can still play my sport on the weekend, that's a good trade-off. As long as the schoolwork is being done, I'm still able to have fun on the field and be with my friends. Those are the different things that you definitely want to do as a kid.
The person in the video just now is Curtis Granderson. He is Major League Baseball player. He said that when he grew older, he realized that sport is not fun anymore, and he realized that he have to spend a lot of time with family and also do personal things to make him happy. There are 3 signs of burnout. The first sign is physical and emotional exhaustion. Second, sign of skepticism and abnormality. And the last one is sign of ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment. As a conclusion, to be a good athlete, we must be ready and well prepared in terms of psychological, physiology, and also social skill. As an athlete, we must know our capability and potential to perform well in every competition that we will facing. That's all from us. Thank you.